I am tearing up.
I just about screamed right now, and I'm not even there.
Now that's inspirational, Natalie. I feel inspired today.
Are you kidding? I could be here for another hour.
And I was talking to my class. There were only 2 of us, and the other guy was in the hospital. So here I am.
And I always go, he winds up homeless on the street. It's my fault.
Yeah, now you sound like my wife.
And you can get off.
I don't know. Call it Google. Call it Google.
Yeah. Control. Alexa, how does he get across?
Paul, I cut you off earlier. What were you going to say?
What?
Dang it! Don't do that to me, Paul. Don't do that to me, man.
I don't know what got into my head, but I thought this thought, if I'm working year round, I might as well get paid year round.
Sweet Talk is a weekly 20-minute podcast brought to you by the Continuing Education and Workforce Training Division of Idaho State University's College of Technology. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud, and subscribe today. Now, it's time to get started with Sweet Talk.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Sweet Talk, the weekly podcast here at Idaho State University's Continuing Education and Workforce Training. I am Paul Dickey, one of your co-hosts, the video instruction manager here at SWEET. And as always, I'm joined by Gary Salazar, our director. Gary, how are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, Paul. I'm doing great. It's good to join you again. We have a very nice podcast coming up today. It kind of talks a little bit about what we do here in SWEET. So I'm excited to have that opportunity.
Excellent, excellent. And also joining us, as always, is Angie Wilhelm, our marketing person. Angie, how are you this morning? We're recording this morning.
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Excellent, excellent. So, Gary, please introduce our fine guest that we have this morning.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, this is a bit of a combination thing. Angela is really one of our guests because we're going to be talking about a topic that she has in common with Shirley. Shirley is our probably, I think Shirley's been with us in SWEET the longest of anyone.
No.
Right, Shirley?
No, not with SWEET.
Well, continuing education, right? Shirley's been with us for a long time in continuing education, and when it merged with workforce training, it became SWEET. She came across that as well. But she's been doing something for a long time that Angela is now also collaborating on with her, and kind of a transition there of the catalog, this wonderful, amazing tool that we have. And so Shirley, who is our continuing education coordinator, she handles all the lifelong learning classes and interactions with those groups, and she does all of the conferencing. As part of that, somewhere in there, somewhere she inherited the catalog too, and has been our subject matter expert on that. So as part of that transition of some of those responsibilities over to Angela, we thought it would be awesome to get the two of them on and talk about this catalog, which when I got here 6 years ago, I found to be just an incredible tool. And this is an opportunity to let our audience know a little bit more about it, what it does, where it goes, and some of the background scenes of that. Thank you, Shirley, for joining us today, along with Angela, to talk about catalog, which on the surface, I think might sound kind of boring, but you all don't realize how much fun these things are. Shirley has so much fun putting these together in the past, the trials and tribulations and the good parts of it, and Angela as well. So glad to have you both joining us and willing to talk about this today. By the way, Paul, I'll let you know, you forgot to remind me, but I did start the timer. It is going. I look down and I go, oh my gosh, I forgot the timer, but subconsciously I hit that button. So we're off to a good start.
It's like a muscle memory now.
Yeah. Ladies, welcome for joining us.
So, I've worked here at SWEET for about 10 years now, and I've seen Shirley take over the role of doing that catalog, and I always had questions about that. I have a different job here, and I'm not really involved with the catalog portion, but why do we still do paper?
Great question. We've had some good conversations about that, but I think as an opening, let's talk about the paper part of our catalog. Shirley,
Yes.
you have started with paper and we're still doing paper. From your viewpoint, what do you think? Why are we still doing paper?
I think a lot of people, the older generation, maybe those who are retired, who looked at computer screens all their lives, are like, I'm done with computers, I'm done with technology, give me something to hang on to. That might be part of it. I think with the internet being so non-consistent here in Idaho, that perhaps that might be another reason. I just think people like something to hang on to. And if it's a catalog, they're going to look at it and put it down. They're cleaning, they're going to look at that catalog again and think, oh, I don't want to throw this away yet, and put it down. While they have company, they may look through their, what's on the coffee table and the catalog be picked up. I think it's just something that they can actually hold, feel, and see.
Yeah, I think so too. Angela, what do you think? I mean, you're from a different generation than I am, and you bring a different slant on things that is really, really good for us to hear. What do you think about paper catalog versus maybe something more digital?
I think Shirley is spot on. And I'd like to say that we do have this online digitally for people who do like to see it. And I would say that it even goes beyond the older generation. There's a terms called reach, frequency, and target market that you'll hear quite a bit in the marketing world. So your reach is how many people a particular marketing item goes out to. Frequency is how many times someone looks at that particular item. And of course, your target market are the people who are going to consume your particular product. With online marketing, which I believe print is dying, with online marketing, people are only going to see that particular ad when they are engaged in an online platform. And for younger generations, of course, that's much more often than older generations. But it's also something that maybe with if you're not looking for that particular product, or you're not spending a ton of money on ads that hit people constantly, they won't get that same frequency as a magazine that's laying on their table, right? Because that's constantly there. It's there whether even when they are on their computer, it might be sitting next to them. So magazines tend to have a longer shelf life than something like a newspaper or a flyer that goes out into the mail. Direct marketing also has a higher return. So that direct marketing would be something that people get directly to themselves.
I kind of skipped ahead here. We didn't talk about what the function of the catalog is.
So the function of the catalog is to promote our continuing education and workforce training classes that we have at CEWT. So that would be even including the stuff that you have, Paul. We do have ads in there for our apprenticeship programs, as well as our health programs, and then the hobby classes, which makes up the rest of the bulk. So in my opinion, those magazines provide such a wonderful marketing opportunity that I don't think we could get as well online. I don't think that's true for every single market. Real estate, I think you're going to see that paper completely die out. And that's simply because if someone's looking for real estate, they know where to go, where they just may not be aware of a particular class that we're running. Maybe they're not aware we have Hogwarts tea or a Downton Abbey tea or something they may be interested in. It's something that they can flip through casually. So it's something where we can create some awareness about that, because some of our classes stay the same and some of them change up. So if someone isn't engaged with our traditional marketing, online marketing, that is, they can pick up this catalog. It also helps that the catalog reaches out to every household in the city itself.
Wow. Yeah, that brings up an interesting point. And Paul, thanks for reminding us, that was the basis for the catalog, getting the information out on the kinds of classes and programs that we might have. Great marketing piece, certainly getting people to say, hey, I want to go take that. That was an important part. I should have started with that. Thank you, Paul. But But Angela, you brought up this good thing about the market and getting this thing out. Shirley, how many in your experience, how many households are we sending this catalog out to?
As of today, it's 63,000.
63,000 different unique mailboxes, I guess is a good way of saying it, are getting this catalog. And some of those are residents, some of those are businesses, right?
Right.
Right. And so, I'm ashamed to say I don't remember what the population of Pocatello, Chubbuck, and all is, but I think we were pushing over 80,000 combined, right? Roughly that. So if we're sending out 60,000 plus catalogs around our area, we're hitting a lot of people. But the catalog also goes beyond our two main towns here, doesn't it? Doesn't go down to some other towns?
Goes to Blackfoot, and I don't know how far, so if it goes to Soda or Montpelier. I'm not sure if it goes that far, but I know it goes to Blackfoot. We'll also get calls from surrounding areas like Idaho Falls. Now our catalog doesn't go that far, but we'll get calls where they want to see our catalog, or they've been at somebody's house who has one, and they'll call and ask, well, is there a continuing education in Idaho Falls? Do you know where I can take this class in Idaho Falls? And I direct them to the college there in IF, because and sometimes I can go online and find that college and see what they're looking for and see if they have it or not. But sometimes I just have them call, because you never know, it might spark an interest in that college to get something going.
Right, good. And going back a second there, the conversation that kind of got started with Angela talking about, digital and hard copy. We do check how many people are coming to our classes through the student evaluations that we get. For those of you who don't know, we try to evaluate all of the classes and gain student feedback from them and say, well, how did we do? How was the instructor? How was the class? Did you learn what you wrote? Questions like that. But we also add this one question at the bottom of, how did you hear about this class? And we get to see all those evaluations. And generally, I've been keeping strict numbers on this thing. I think we are now with Angela, but generally it's about 50% or so, or people say, yeah, I got it. I became aware of the class through the catalog. So that's our online catalog. Maybe we should break that up and say, was it the digital catalog or was it the hard copy that you learned about it? But we're getting a lot of people who take our classes because they, like you said, they either met somebody who had a copy of the catalog or they had it delivered to them. And that's kind of reinforcing information for us to continue to do this, even though it's not cheap to send this catalog out. Somebody else has to help put all this stuff together for us. Somebody else then has to get it published, and then we have to get it mailed out. So it's an expensive venture to put out a catalog, 2 or 3 times a year, right? Yeah.
So what is the most difficult part about producing the catalog?
The most difficult part is getting your instructors to get back to you with the dates and times and how long they want a class, and get you the description, and did you change it from last semester? That's the hardest part of the catalog.
Finding people who want to come teach a class for us. And the people who want to teach classes, where do they come from? They come just from the university or what?
They come from all over. We'll have some university personnel who would like, they've got a talent, they've got a hobby they like to share, or sometimes it's community. They are retired in some field, English or Spanish, and they'll want to teach an English class or a Spanish class, or they love to cook and they've got ethnic dishes like Chinese or Russian or Italian dishes that they want to share that perhaps their grandmother cooked when they were young. So they's all over.
Right. And we think, I think we have a fair grasp of, hey, these are good classes that we think there's interest in, but sometimes we get surprised too. that, oh my gosh, this took off. And the one that stands out to me is when Jenna was here, and it was that Hogwarts camp. I said, this is not going to go, but was amazed at how many people wanted to take that class and kept coming back. That was very popular.
And it wasn't only the younger, the below 18, it was those that were 18 and older that we had a class for them with the Hogwarts. And we did that one for probably 2.5 years. Well, probably up until 2019. And then 2020 hit. So, yeah.
And that was that class started with someone from the community approaching us and saying that
actually she worked here on campus.
Worked here on campus.
Yeah, she was in the English department and she loved Harry Potter.
Yeah.
So
that was pretty cool. It was so much fun.
She went as far as making shirts, the Harry Potter shirts out of the Harry Potter fabric. She would send out letters to the students, and she asked if some way we could find a seal. So we went and bought some the wax that they sealed letters with back in 1500. And then I'm a seamstress, so I went to the fabric store and was looking at all sorts of different buttons and found one that had like a what do you want to call them? Like an emblem on it. And so we would melt the wax and pour the wax on the envelope and put the button on it so it looked like it had a seal.
Wow.
And we got special paper, I think, for it, and special envelopes to make it special to the kids.
Yeah.
And it was fun to do. I mean, it was a lot of work, but there's a lot of people that came out of it.
That was sounds like it was the instructor and you working together to make a really good experience for the people who took that.
Yeah. My front office had a lot to do with it too. So it was a joint effort.
Yes.
And then we for the sign, because we changed locations, we put signs up, and we had somebody brought in an owl, and we put it on a broomstick and taped it so there was an owl, because that was one of the animals that was in the stories. So we tried to make it fun, you know.
It wasn't a real owl you taped on a broomstick, was it?
No, it was not a real owl. It was a plastic one. Sorry.
So how do you describe that in the catalog? Because it sounds like that's a kind of a more enriching experience than you can put in one tiny paragraph.
We put, you might want to call it a teaser maybe in the catalog, and then we'll put, for more information, go to cetrain.isu.edu and go to the website and get a more in-depth description of the class. We did that for the last couple of semesters. I have what they call a round dance, and it's part of a square dance. It's where it's a choreographed ballroom dance, but you have someone who cues you and tells you what steps to take. Anyway, she had this nice big long elaborate description, and between Angela and I, we cut it down to about a third, and then put in there, for more information, go to the website. Same thing with our sewing classes that we did. So
that's kind of neat, using the paper to basically give that short description, but then elaborate further on a wider description on the web page.
Exactly.
Making paper and digital work together.
Exactly.
And the catalog is fun in a lot of ways for classes like that, but we also use it to put information out about a lot of the different professional classes or the workforce training classes too. I mean, certainly we advertise Paul's apprenticeship classes. I think we got some blurbs in there. We have some online partners that we put in there, and folks who are interested in something that maybe we don't teach, but they can find it online somewhere else. We get some of that, and that adds a little bit of a richness, I think, of diversity to what we're offering, so people have choices when they're looking for things. In your experience, Shirley, what was the biggest selling class, if I can put it that way? What was the most popular class that you think we've had?
I want to say Hogwarts.
Hogwarts was? Okay.
Yes, because it ran for 2.5 years, and once we got even from the get-go, we didn't have to, worry to see if it was going to run or not. It always ran.
Mhm.
So it was just, I would say it was the longest running class, and maybe that's kind of up there with the junior firefighter camp that we did.
Oh yeah, I
You
forgot
can
about
see
that.
how the first class, you know, you had the minimum and then how it had grown. But
Hmm.
I want to say the Hogwarts.
Yeah, in many, many ways, this is a wonderful mirror of SWEET, is that catalog, you know, because it reflects so many of the different areas that we go into. We allow others who are very interested in doing something as a class come on in. They talk with you or an Angela now, and say, "Hey, I want to offer this, and what do you think?" When somebody comes in and says, "I've got this great idea for a class," you know, what are you looking for?
We look at what the class could offer. We ask them to bring in like a class syllabus. Sometimes we'll ask them to do a short demonstration of the
Mhm.
class of what they're going to present. And then sometimes, you know, after they leave, we talk amongst ourselves, and sometimes it's just not quite would fit in our little ball. Sometimes we've had to tell instructors that we don't think this would fit in our catalog for
Sure.
right.
It's not the right offering at the time.
Yeah. I can remember about 3 classes we've done it too, but
Yeah. You know, sometimes somebody has a great idea, though. I mean, we're not the only game in town, so to speak.
exactly.
There could be somebody else out there who could use someone to teach a class like that, and we can refer them too.
Yeah, sometimes I'll suggest a school district if it's an educational class, or and then if it's like a book reading or something, I would refer them to the public library, Marshall Public Library.
Right. Oh,
Because
that's
they
another good option
Yeah.
too. Yes.
another way of getting it to those who visit the library if it's a book reading or something.
Yeah. Angela, I'm sorry.
No,
We have already gone past 20 minutes. This topic is
No.
just flown. Yes. Angela, before we go into towards our close, we got to talk about, you know, a little bit of the future of our catalog. You're working on one right now. This is for the spring,
Mhm.
right?
yes.
How's that shaping up for you? Is it coming along on schedule for you? Are you seeing some areas that we need to you know, call back to people on, or what? How's this going?
I think it is on schedule. There are people I do need to call back on. And that goes with Shirley. Previous to this, I produced magazines throughout the Northwest, and
Mhm.
that's kind of common in all publications where you're dealing with a considerable amount of clients to get information in. Some of them, if they've been doing it for a really long time, know exactly what you need and can get you it early. And I would say also it comes back to that generation of people who may not be used to using computers or
Mhm.
digital media. Sometimes you just have to, people are busy. Most of the people who run these classes have full-time jobs other than the classes they run. So there's always a few people that you just need to remind to get some of their stuff in. But, we've got a couple more weeks before it's like hard pressed that we have to get it out to our publisher. So I do believe that we will be on time.
Excellent. You know, as we do close this up here, is there a message or anything you'd like to say to anybody out there who might be listening, say about our catalog, maybe what you're looking for, or have them call you? How could they reach out to you if they want to get more information?
They can email Angela Wilhelm, ANGELAWILHELM at isu.edu, or they can give us a call. Paul's got all the information he typically gives at the end. You can
Okay.
also go to cetrain.isu.edu to check out some of the classes that we have already. And our catalogs will hit mailboxes in December, or spring
Oh, wow.
catalogs.
Wow, great.
Excellent.
Um,
Excellent.
Thank you, Angela. Shirley, thank you. I think between the two of you, we've really built up the team who's helping produce what I think is an amazing and wonderful product. And by the way, I am quoting somebody when I say amazing. This is just my feeling. I've heard that comment out in town. It does provide a great tool as part of SWEET's outreach. It gets us people to come on and teach. It's a great connector for the university, and I think it fulfills the need right now. Thank you both for what you are doing. It's a huge part of our outreach, a huge part of what we do here, and I look forward to continuing this amazing and marvelous effort. Paul, sorry, man, we kind of went through
I
this real
know.
quick.
I know. So, when I'm out in the community, some of the shortcuts I make when I try to connect people with what I do is say, hey, that catalog that you
Yeah.
get in the mail, and then there's that instant recognition and go, oh, that's you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. People recognize us because of the catalog. It's a great tool for that.
It is. So speaking of that catalog, if you would like to look at the digital version of the catalog, you can get that on our website at cetrain.isu.edu. Angie's also mentioned that you can reach out to us at the email at cetrain@isu.edu. And if you want to give us a call about, hey, when is that catalog coming out? You can call us at 208-282-3372. Gary, Angie, always thank you so much. And Shirley, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, Shirley is a wealth of information.
No,
Amazing
not really.
resource. Yes.
Someone
Yeah.
told me at one time, at least, I knew where the dead bodies were buried.
Let's just
sure
change that.
that's
Let's
good.
change that to dead catalogs.
That's true. That's true.
Hey, thank you, everybody. You all be safe out there.
Be safe.
Bye.